Hey guys, Banana Luck here and welcome back to the channel. So back with another Watcher of Realms video, and today we'll be discussing Guild Wars and healers in particular, who should you be deploying. So in my case, I've actually chosen to just deploy healers in one of my garrison units, and that is the one on the second one, right? So first one I have Oleg, and lots of burst DPS actually with Valeria and Salazar. So I can't actually heal Valeria during her ultimate, so I decided that whatever that comes my way, I should be able to burst through it, and that's why I decided not to, deploy any healers. So that's for my first team. Second team with Eloin, I think that's much more required because we have Brokir, not self-sustaining like Oleg. So I think the extra rage regen also really helps, and the way that I've placed it is such that Eloin actually covers all of the units over here. So it ensures that, all my units are covered for, they all get that extra rich regen that comes from Eloin's passive, and yeah. At the same time, I'm still, spreading things out so that if the enemy deploys the exploding bugs, my units don't get affected. I think maybe Eloin at most, but they are going to be able to heal right back up. So that's the only healer I'm deploying. Of course, if your lineup looks different from mine, that's alright, but let's just talk about healers and, which ones you should actually try to deploy. So let's look at the gallery here, and we'll take a look at all the healers. So healers wise, I think it's quite obvious. In Guild Wars in particular, I think single target heals may not work as well, especially when they're AoE mobs or sometimes there's just multiple things going on that the enemy is trying to deploy. I think with the exception of units like Vortex, if you're running a northern set of units, I think Vortex could still work. But if you ask me, heroes like Lily, Nasande, Lightlock, those are the healers that I'll try to steer away from because I feel that the single target heal is not going to be sufficient. I feel that at most the single target heal that I'll use is Vortex because of that ultimate where, he actually increases healing multipliers and, restores HP for all allies in range and gives a shield if, it exceeds that amount. So I think that's really neat. And obviously Hollow, that's another consideration I'll have, but Hollow is an attack-based healer, so haven't been able to test it out. I mean, it would be really nice if they actually allow us to test out the defense side of things, right? Instead of just the attacks and training, because without that, it's really hard to tell whether or not this lineup will actually work, and we actually have to go through an actual, Guild War run before we find out that, hey, this placement sucks, but it's too late because we've already done it. I think Hollow works well in terms of her range and the rage regen. It's just whether or not she's able to put out enough heals to, keep the entire team going. So the more straightforward units that I think must go for is obviously Midan. Midan with the multi heals and also the Dispel with her ultimate. So she does HP base healing to 3 allies in range, and it's the similar range that Eloin has. So it just works really well with her. And the other notable units, Eloin we've already mentioned. Leia, if you did pull her, I think her range is freaking huge as well. Yeah, sorry, not that big. Actually, it's the same range as Eloin. So I think it works just as well. And she does do 3 heals as well, like Eloin. So I think coupled with her ultimate, which does rich regen, as well as the damage increase with Celestial Ascendance, I think Leia could work really well as well. So I think the other notable mentions will be Sadie. Sadie does what Eileen does. It's the heal where, it does it to all the people in range, and it's the Dolores range. So you're going to get quite a lot of coverage if you run Sadie. Especially if you run it with a northern set of units. So maybe like Isolde, Oleg, Sadie, and 2 other DPS units. Could be Maul, Nocturne, Shamir as well for the extra control even. So yeah. And last but not least, we have Eileen, the new healer. I think she has a similar kit to Sadie as well, just not as much damage reduction, but I think just her being able to heal out a lot of units, I think that works well as well. But if you have someone like Elowen or Sadie, I would think to use them instead because they have rage regen and damage reduction respectively. So Aileen just doesn't seem to cut it as well, in my opinion. And I've not used Aspirin before, but I've heard very good stuff about him. I think, if you do have him build up and he has that talent where, he cannot take damage more than 60% of his HP at once, I think that could work really well. And given that he has that, where was it? Yep, so this passive where allows him to cast heals from anywhere on the map, I think that just gives him more, room to play, especially in Guild War, because you have to try to, fit everything together. So yeah, I think healers is pretty straightforward. My recommendation is always go with multi-heal as much as possible. If not, Vortex is fine as well. Hollow is fine if you have the two of them build out, but avoid units like Lily on the Sunday. Obviously, Dolores is not a healer, she's a booster, so yeah, if you run her, make sure you run another healer as well. Yep, but healers I think is pretty short. I think we already mentioned the tip that I given at the start where, try to run your healers such that they don't get bombarded by the exploding bugs. But yeah, that's it for the video, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it down in the comment section below. And if you've enjoyed the content, feel free to leave a like or subscribe. And good luck in your Guild Wars, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.